How's it going, guys? So, Head Count is a supernatural folklore horror movie from 2018, directed by Elle Callahan in her directorial debut. Since I saw this movie in 2019, like a year after it came out, and I highly enjoyed it. When it comes to like urban legend, like folklore type horror and stuff, I love that stuff. Like, if it's done right, I really highly enjoy that little subgenre of horror. I think I was even mentioning that in one of the Jeepers Creepers videos I did yesterday. That I just love that whole mythical, legend, folklore type horror subgenre, and this is a very good entry into that type of that subgenre of horror. So I'll give a spoiler-free thing just for if anyone who hasn't seen this, because I don't see it talked about a lot at all. But basically, we have Evan, who's a college student who is on break from school, and he ends up going to Joshua Tree Desert in California to hang out with his older brother Peyton for the weekend while he's off school. And they go on a hike, and they end up meeting a group of 9 friends, and they end up leaving, and then Peyton notices that Evan has a thing for one of the girls in the group, and that she sort of had a thing for him too. So he lets Evan go hang out with them for the night at the house that they rented in the desert. They end up summoning the Hisji, which is a creature. I don't want to give too much away about it, but it's just some type of creature who ends up terrorizing this group of friends. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Shudder, I want to say. Yeah, it's on Shudder right now. It's probably on Tubi also. But if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I highly enjoy this movie, even more so on this rewatch. If you like slow burn horror, it's not for everybody, this movie. It's slow burning. It's that type of film where there's a lot of things in the background that you have to just keep looking around to catch certain things, like blink if you miss it type of stuff. And it's just handled very well in this movie. And the film looks great, like for a low budget. Like, it's not ultra low budget or anything like that, but it's low budget. But the way that she directed the movie, and certain camera tricks that she uses, and the acting is very good. The sound design is very good. Like, the cinematography is great. Like, all the shots of the desert and everything. Awesome stuff. So if you haven't seen it, like I said, go check it out. And if you want to come back and hear my thoughts, then go ahead and do that. Because I'm going to get into spoilers now. So, like I said, we have Peyton and Evan in Joshua Tree, California, in the desert. Which all the shots of the desert look awesome in this movie. Like, it's a great setting for this whole premise and everything. And I just love the cinematography in this movie. Like, the movie just looks so good. Like, just looking at the film and just watching it, like, it has such a great look to it. Very good. And then Peyton and Evan's whole relationship, they feel like actual brothers. And I've been saying this a few times in the last week or so in videos and stuff about families and, you know, brother sister sister relationships and everything in horror movies, and that it's kind of hard to capture that on screen, to capture the feelings and emotions and the way they play off each other, to make it seem genuine, to make it seem like an actual relationship, a familial relationship, whether it's a whole family or brother sister or 2 brothers or etc. It's very hard to capture that, and they do a good job. And Peyton is like this straight edge, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, and he meditates and goes hiking all the time, and he's like high on life, like his brother says. And Evan is a little more reserved. Like, you can see in the movie, he just has a hard time. He's nervous, he's shy, has a hard time making a move on Zoe when they're in the hot tub. Like, but I really like his character. Like, I like most of the characters in this movie. Like, pretty much all of them. Like, they have great chemistry together. Like, the group of friends and everything, they feel like a genuine group of friends. Like, just their dialogue, the way that they bounce off each other and stuff. Very well done. And most of the girls in this movie are super hot, like almost all of them, which is never a bad thing in a horror movie. So we hear the thing with the race car lighter that Evan says that was his brother Peyton's, and he stole it from him when he was like 11, 12 years old, and Peyton let him keep it. That lighter still works. Like, he's a college student, so what is he, 19, 20 maybe? So like fucking 9 years, that Bic lighter is still working. Get the fuck out of here, man. And like, we know he smokes. Like, he smokes weed and stuff. So he's used that lighter. It's not like somebody who doesn't smoke at all and stole a cool looking lighter from their brother and then just kept it for all these years. Like, he uses it. He carries it around. So there's no fucking way that lighter still works after fucking 8, 9, 10 years, whatever it is. The house that the group of friends rent is a cool looking house. Like, I don't know what it is with houses in movies. Like, whenever I see a nice looking house or a creepy house or a cool house, I always gotta point it out. But it's a real nice house, and like I said, the whole setting of the house in the middle of nowhere in the desert is just a great setting for this whole movie. And then they start reading the scary stories around the campfire, and Evan looks up on some website about the Hisji, and he starts reading it, which we find out later wasn't really like a scary story. It was a way of summoning this creature, this Hisji. So the name Hisji, I mean, it's fine, I guess. Like, this whole myth and, you know, folklore legend of the history was made up just for this movie. But it works, I guess. I mean, the first time I watched this movie, I said, Hisji, really? You couldn't think of anything better than that? But it's fine. It works. And you have to say his name 5 times, just like Candyman or Bloody Mary and that type of stuff. But most of the premise for this whole creature and everything is pretty original. Like, yeah, it harkens back to and will remind you of a lot of premises kind of like this, and like I just said, like Candyman and everything like that, with repeating the name 5 times. And I get a lot of vibes of It Follows, just the way this movie looks and it's filmed. It reminds me of It Follows. The Thing, like with their paranoia and everything that goes on in the group as things progress, reminds me of the huge paranoia theme that's played out throughout The Thing, which is my favorite horror movie of all time, which anybody who's seen this channel for any little bit of time knows that. So definitely some feels from other movies, but definitely a pretty original idea and everything. Let's see here. When they're in the hot tub, Evan and Zoe, and they see the figure in the distance, like Evan asks her, do you see that? The lighting is so dark, like I can barely see anything. Like, I wish I could see better, like what he's talking about, because I don't see anything there. Like, I see a vague silhouette, and that's it. I mean, they could have made it a little more, like, seeable. Make words up. I don't know if that's a word. But like make it more easy to see the outline or silhouette of this figure that's standing out there in the desert, because you can barely see anything. Like, you see like maybe like the outline of a head or of a face, and that's it. But I mean, it's fine. It's not like a negative on the film or anything. It's just me nitpicking, like I always do. And Max is such a fucking asshole, dude. Max in this movie is such a dick. Like, just the way he treats Evan, and we find out later that he used to date Zoe, who Evan's, you know, there with and everything, and hooking up with. And so, I mean, I get where he's coming from. And we find out that Zoe broke up with him. So, like, your ex-girlfriend dumps you, then you go on vacation. But he's dating a new girl, so it's like, what the fuck does it matter? But he's still such a dick. To his friends too. Like, he's just, his whole demeanor, like, is one character I really can't stand in this movie. And just all the things that you have to look out for, like I said earlier in this movie, like, awesome. Like, I love that type of stuff. Like, when there's no jump scares and like cues, like music cues to let you know that something's on the screen. Like, you have to just be looking in the background the whole time, which the whole title of this film being Head Count is a great title for this movie, because while you're watching it, like, once you start to realize what's going on, you're constantly, and especially on rewatches, you're constantly keeping a head count of all the characters in the group to make sure that there are 10 of them. And there's sometimes that there's an extra person there and they bring no attention to it. Like when Evan wakes up the first morning after he stayed the first night with them, and he walks out and there's the blonde girl on the couch. Like, you see her for a second maybe, and he says good morning to her, and he walks out and they're all getting ready to leave, and he says, no, you're missing somebody. And was it Camille? I really like her character. She reminds me of a friend of mine. But when they're leaving and she talks to her boyfriend Brian and says that hurry up, you're shoving food down your mouth like crazy this morning. Then she walks outside with Evan and says that Brian's still in the house. Then we see that Brian's in the car. So right then and there, something is fucking weird going on. Then Evan says, oh, no, well, there was the blonde girl on the couch. Like I said, good morning to her, and they're like, you take a few hits and you're seeing shit. Like, Camille's the only blonde girl in our group. So like, it's very well done with all those things in the background that you have to look out for. Like, this is not a movie to watch distracted, like looking at your phone, anything like that. You have to be watching, paying close attention, like, for sure. The shack with the pentagram symbol, or the symbol for the Hisji, really cool, and it has a cool creepy design to it. Then Zoe comes to get Evan, and as soon as he turns around, you see for a split second the blonde girl in the corner, and then she looks over at Zoe, and then she just disappears, I guess. Like, I don't know the rules of this thing, but it looks like it can just disappear, like, at will. And like I said, like, always keeping a head count on these people when they go up, when they go into the desert to go to the peak that they can see the whole park from. And you're counting, there's a group of 5 of them. There's 5 of them that are going up to the peak. And then I love how, while there's like Zoe's near the cliff taking pictures, and I forget who else is with them. One other person, and then Nico, the hippie dude, and Evan are in the foreground of the camera. And they're talking and everything, and that's grabbing your attention. So you're paying attention to them talking, that a lot of people won't even realize that Tori walks into frame and standing right next to Zoe right before she falls off the cliff, like, and jumps off. And she had no control over her body. Like she says to Camille later, she felt like a passenger in her own body, and she had no control over herself. But that's a nice little background detail like that. Like, I don't even think I noticed that on the first watch. Like, I noticed it on this one, but like, I had to rewind it just to be sure. I was like, wait a minute, there was 6 of them at one point, like right when Zoe fell. And then I rewound. I said, yeah, Tori walked in, and so I know. So just, there's a lot of things that you have to look out for in this film, and it's very, very well done. Like, I can't give enough praise to Callahan for, especially for a directorial debut. Like, this is an excellent directorial debut. And I know I was looking forward to a new film by her when I first saw this, and now when I went to rewatch this, I found out that she released a new film last year, Witch Hunt. So I'm definitely going to check that out, because I would love to see what she did with that after this movie, which I really, really enjoyed. And then after Zoe jumps off the cliff, and then they show that's such a cool shot when Zoe looks up and you see Tori, or the creature, the Hisji, looking down at her, and the clouds are moving above Tori / Hisji, like, really fast. And that's a real cool shot. Then as soon as she starts talking about what happened and that her leg's broken, or not broken, but like really swelled and stuff like that, Tori's right down there, which is another clue that wasn't Tori up there. It's so well done. And then the whole thing with the number 5, there is 5 all over this film, like everywhere. Like, I wrote a decent amount down, but I'm sure there's so many more that I missed. Like, when Evan first wakes up after the first night, it's 10:13 a.m. If you add the numbers up, it's 5. Like, the 5 couples that are, the groups of friends, there's 5 couples, there's 10 of them. There's so many shots in this movie with 5 of the characters in the frame. Like a lot of shots that have just 5 characters in it. Camille yells at Brian for eating 5 eggs. Like before they walk out, and we see that Brian was in the car and not in the kitchen, like with the egg thing. And then when they later in the film they put eggs in the fridge and it's 5 eggs. Like never have I ever with the putting your your hands up and putting fingers down, which is how the Hisji makes the characters kill themselves at the end of the movie. Like nice foreshadowing with that, with the never have I ever game. The bottles and cups on the table and in the kitchen are grouped in numbers of 5, in groups of 5. Like so many things. There's a 5 on the race car lighter that Evan has. Then all the stuff near the end when they get back to the house. Like there's so much stuff there relating to the number 5 I can't even get into it. We'll be here for a while. And when Camille walks out of the kitchen and she sees Nico, like as she's walking out of the kitchen, and then from the camera angle we see Nico in the kitchen sitting down, looks like he's rolling a joint or something like that. Then Camille like sees him out of the corner of her eye. Then she walks into the living room and she sees Nico sitting there in the living room, and then she's confused and she looks back and there's nobody sitting there. Like really cool stuff. And Evan, like I said, I like his character, but he's a dick to his brother, man. Like when his brother Peyton shows up to check on him and thought that something terrible happened to him, and then he embarrasses Evan a little bit, saying that he has the Teen Safe app or what locator through GPS, so he always knows where Evan is, and that's how he found the house. Like that's gotta be fucking embarrassing for him and for Evan. But like just the way he treats him after that, and just saying like, you can go now, Peyton, like I'm staying another night, and like just the whole fact that he's there to hang out with his brother and spend time with his brother. And he spends this whole time with this strange group of friends that he just met. That's fucked up. Like and you can tell by Peyton's demeanor and like his facial expressions that he's disappointed that he wants to spend time with his little brother. And like I can see like one night, like him saying at the beginning, like I can't stand in the way between you and the girl. You know, like go have fun. Fine, but then the next morning, time to get back to your brother. Like, not spend the whole weekend that you're supposed to be spending time with your brother, that it doesn't seem like they hang out too often, and then just blow them off the whole weekend for these group of friends, and specifically for Zoe. Like, I get it, but it's still a dick move. Like, don't be a dick to your brother like that. And you can tell, like I said, that he's, like, visibly upset. Like when he leaves the house after embarrassing him with the app, the locator or whatever, you can tell that he's disappointed, that he's upset, that he's basically his brother just told him to get the hell out of here. Like that I'm staying another night, like for the 3rd time. Like it's really fucked up what he does to his brother, but I get it. Like he wants this girl, he likes Zoe. I love that back and forth tracking shot when they're playing Never Have I Ever, how it just keeps going slowly back and forth and showing all the characters and keeps going back and forth. That's really cool camera work. And then such a creepy scene, man, when the lights go out right when Sam, the blonde with the glasses, is sitting at the table playing Never Have I Ever with them. His girlfriend Tori's right next to him, and they all know he's there. And then when Nico asks him the question for Never Have I Ever, the lights shut off as soon as right after Sam pokes his head out from the kitchen, so you could still see Sam poke out from the kitchen and Sam in the room for like a second until the lights go off, and then all you see is the real Sam in the kitchen. Really creepy, like really well done. Awesome stuff. Then their whole little argument and stuff, and then they're all freaking out, saying like, well, there's no way we imagined Sam being there, and they're arguing with the friends who were playing beer pong in the kitchen, and they're saying, Sam's been here for like an hour. Like, we've been playing beer pong for like the last 20, 30 minutes. And like Max saying that Sam was his partner, and they were playing the 2 other friends for like 30 minutes or so. So just hearing that, can you imagine? Like, and like, especially Tori, the girlfriend of Sam, like she's freaking out. She's like, why are you fucking lying to me? Like, you were just next to me. Like, you're fucking lying. Like, how did you do that? How did you get all the way to the kitchen that fast? And then just all the paranoia that starts from then on. Just very, very well done. And then, like, they said, like, well, maybe we're too fucked up. Bullshit. When have you ever been that fucked up that you see your friend sitting next to you and he's not really there? Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like, a stupid excuse. I guess, sorry about that. I had to pause the video. I'm not going to get big into this, but I have a little bit of a family emergency going on all day. Everybody's fine. Nobody's hurt or anything like that. But I was waiting on a phone call from someone, and they just called. So I had to take that phone call. So, apologies. I don't even remember what I was talking about, so I'm just going to go on. I think I was saying about being too fucked up and stuff, that they would see somebody sitting there who was not there, which makes no sense. And then even Evan says that. He's like, we're all pretty fucked up right now, but we're not so out of it that we just imagined it or hallucinated it. And damn right, because you would not be hallucinating some person sitting next to you, talking to you, interacting with all these people. Absolutely would make no sense. So I'm glad he addressed that a little bit. And they searched the house and stuff, thinking that maybe there's somebody in the house and that it wasn't Sam and that they were too drunk and someone definitely was sitting there, but maybe it wasn't Sam, which again, bullshit. You got his Tori sitting right next to him, which is the girlfriend. She's not going to know that's not her boyfriend? Like, really? Come on. I love the shot of the camera panning back, like after they all fall asleep and the electricity has been out in the living room, and then the camera just pans back as the lights in the room and the lamps start turning on one by one. Really cool shot. I like that a lot. And then Zoe talking to Evan outside before they go into the mines. And I mean, we all know that that's the Hisji. Like, without a doubt. like it's very apparent. The way that she's talking, the way that she's just acting different. And so I don't know how Evan didn't pick up on that. But she said she's going to be in Max's car and that she'll meet him out there and everything. And he goes to get ready, and then they head out in two different cars, and Max's car is there already, Zoe's not there, and then he comes out and asks, like, Zoe was supposed to be here, and they let him know that her ankle's worse, and that's why the rest of them stay back to help her. And that's when he puts everything together and says, like, how many people are at the house? And they say 5, and he freaks out like anybody would, like, and gets in the car, takes the guy's keys, and he goes keys, and just hops in his car and starts driving away, and then, like, he lets Camille in, so at least one of them gets to go back with them, and she kind of had to, because that's the only way to make it a group of 5 when they all get back, which is the whole 5 thing of, like, yeah, it's interesting, but, like, what if it was just a group of 3 friends and they met Evan? There was 4 of them, and that's it. Would it be able to do its thing and still make them kill themselves? Or would it have to wait for one other person to randomly show up? Or if it was a group of 8, I can only kill 5 of them and then 3 are safe? Like, I don't know how any of that works, but interesting to think about. Let's see, the whole scene with that, blah, blah, blah. And then the whole scene with Evan and Camille finding all the suicide evidence with the noose hanging in the closet and the toaster in the toilet and the toilet in the fucking bathtub. My brain's not all there right now, so like I said, apologies for that, but I got a lot on my mind right now. But that whole scene is awesome. And all the bodies are gone, so, like, I guess the Hisji just, like, absorbs their bodies, because when we see Evan looking on the computer, the laptop earlier, and looking up, like, doing his little investigation into this legend that we see in so many movies, the laptop exposition that tells us more information about what they're dealing with and stuff, and just seeing that whole scene is creepy as shit, man. Like, knowing that they all killed themselves, but the bodies are gone. Like, that's freaky, man. Imagine, like, being there and dealing with that. And then Zoe's outside, well, the Hisji as Zoe is sitting outside, and Camille runs out to her and starts asking what happened. And at that point, after everything that Evan said to her and what she just saw in the house, she should know that's not Zoe. Like, again, like Evan outside the house earlier talking to her. Like, how they don't know it's her, I don't know. Like, immediately I would know that that's not Zoe. But Zoe's line of they'll live together forever, that's creepy. Really creepy shit. Like, really cool line. Then the rest of them show back up at the house, and it's a group of 5 now. And just her with the hand up, like the Never Have I Ever foreshadowed earlier, puts her hand up and just puts one down, and the girl slits her wrists vertically down. Cool stuff. Like this, the ending of this movie, like it doesn't have much gore or anything. It doesn't need it. Like this type of movie doesn't really need any type of blood and gore and stuff. We get a little bit, but like it's not the type of movie that really needs it, and like it would benefit more from it. No, it's fine just the way it is. Then we see the Hisji's true form, which it looks cool. I mean, it's CGI and everything, but it's decent CGI, especially for the budget. Like that's like this reptilian looking thing, like it looks like an alien almost, and the way that the rattle sound that it makes throughout the movie to kind of let you know that it's around, and just the growls it makes, so then really cool. Like I really like the design of it. Then when they hear, after it jumps onto the roof or onto the second floor or something like that, and they hear it mimicking all their voices, like things that they said throughout the movie and stuff. Really cool stuff. Like really interesting things, very original stuff in this movie for sure. And then they all start killing themselves, which, I mean, like I said, it doesn't need gore or anything like that, but I do wish we saw more of it. Like we just see like Nico grabbing the bleach and starts drinking bleach, and Max starts putting the saran wrap around his face to suffocate himself, and that's basically it. And then it pans out, which is a cool shot, how it pans out of the house through the wall or the window, whatever it is, out to the outside. Really cool shot. And then you just hear Evan saying, stop it while you're doing this. Nico, put that down. And Vanessa, no. And like, stop doing that. And just, what would you do in that situation, man? When 4 friends of people you just met like a few days ago, they're all trying to kill themselves right in front of you, and you're trying to stop every one of them, and as soon as you go to one of them, the other one starts doing it again. Like, that's gotta be fucking hard, man. That's gotta be one fucked up situation. And then Evan in the shack with Zoe, the Hisji, comes in, and he makes the phone call to Peyton, and we know throughout the movie that Peyton's not a techie guy. He doesn't use his phone much. He doesn't listen to his voicemails often or anything like that. So Evan makes that phone call to his brother, and it's a heartbreaking phone call, man. I'm just like, I'm sorry, and if I don't see you, I love you, and goodbye, and everything. That sucks, man. And imagine Peyton hearing that voicemail before getting to the house at the end. Like, that's some sad shit. Then when Peyton shows up, then we see that the shack is burnt down. So we know that Evan killed himself by lighting the shack on fire and burning to death, which sucks, man. That's one hell of a way to go. Burning to death has got to be one of the worst. And he's looking through the house, Peyton, and there's no one around, and the house is all back to normal because when the group got back the night before, the whole place was changed, and there was cards laid all around in a circle, and all the cups stacked, and like the whole house was completely in disarray and just weird, and just all different types of weird shit throughout this house. And then Peyton gets there, and it's all back to normal, and he's looking around, and then he notices the voicemail on his phone. And right when he's about to listen to it, Evan's behind him, and the race car lighter's on the table, and just the whole manipulation that this Hisji does, that he says to Peyton, like, I'm sorry I've been a dick to you, and he's like, no, don't worry about it, no problem, man. And like him giving him a hug and stuff, like he really is trying to get out there and get more victims, this thing. Then they leave, and then Peyton says he wants him to meet his friends, and Evan, the Hisji, says that's perfect. And then we just get a shot of his reflection in the passenger mirror, and the end. Such an interesting movie, such a fun rewatch this was. I highly, highly enjoy this movie. And for, like I said, for a directorial debut from Elle Callahan, excellent job. Like, I can't say enough of how well done this movie is, how well made it is, how well shot it is, especially on a lower budget. Like, the way that it feels like a higher budget production, even though it's not, which is a hard thing to pull off with a low budget. To be able to, just like the way the camera tricks that she uses, and just the characters and their interactions and the chemistry between them, and the whole lore and mythos behind this creature, and all of that just adds so much to the feel of the production. And I absolutely adore this movie. On this rewatch, I highly enjoyed it the first time. This time, it went up even more for me. So that is Head Count from 2018, and it is Found Footage Friday tonight. I didn't know what I was going to do besides Unfriended, which I wanted to do a few weeks ago, but it just kind of got bumped off the list for other movies. So I thought, all right, Unfriended, and let me pick two others, and I had a hard time picking. So I made a poll on Reddit and on the Found Footage subreddit with a bunch of movies, and VHS won by a landslide, but now it's making me think I want to do all VHS films, the whole series. So next Friday, I'm going to be doing the whole VHS series. So that way I give a whole day to that series, and I can knock all four of them out. I have not seen Viral, and I have not seen 94. So that'll be interesting to watch those for the first time after rewatching the first two, which I highly enjoyed the first two. But somebody gave me the idea of why don't you make it a computer-based found footage night. So that's what I did. So I'm doing Unfriended, the sequel, Unfriended Dark Web, and The Den, which I absolutely adore. The Den. I love Unfriended. The sequel's pretty good. So those will be coming up in a few hours. I already watched them, got notes taken, so I just got to record the videos. So, alright guys, I will see you guys in a little bit for Found Footage Friday, and then tomorrow starts Argento August, starting with Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Cat of Nine Tails, and Four Flies on Grey Velvet, the whole animal trilogy I'm going to knock out tomorrow. And continuing on Sunday with more Argento. So, going to be a fun weekend rewatching all Argento stuff, which I absolutely adore him. He's one of my favorite directors. So, if you're a big Argento fan, definitely stick around this weekend and look out for those videos on his films. Alright guys, wherever you're from, I hope you're having a good day, night, and I will talk to you soon.